Hey, what's up? This is Tony Douglas with Vertigo, and today I'm going to share with you the number one, the biggest athlete secret, and I guarantee you it's staring you right in the face. You're not going to believe it when I share it with you. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to show you my son's Strider bike. So here's a Strider bike. You'll see there's no pedals on this thing. It's just wheels and steering, okay? No pedals. And the Strider bike, it was created by Ryan McFarlane in 2007, and it has completely revolutionized how our kids learn how to ride a bike. See, when I was growing up, I learned how to ride a bike with training wheels. So you put the training wheels on, you could instantly get on your bike and you're off to the races because there was no fear of tipping over. The training wheels kept you balanced and you could pedal pretty quickly and the steering was easy, and there you go, you could ride a bike. The problem was when I took my training wheels off, and when almost all kids take their training wheels off, they still can't ride a bike. So it really didn't train them how to ride a bike. It actually, prohibited them from riding a bike, and that's why you see usually when kids take off their training wheels, there's a parent running behind them, guiding them, and then the parent lets them go, and then you get this cool, kind of nostalgic thing with the parent running behind the kid and raise their hands, the kid's riding the bike. And those days may be over because this Strider bike. So what the Strider bike people did is they looked at bike riding and they looked at how we learn how to ride a bike, and they said, okay, cool, we see that there's training wheels, but what is the most important thing about riding a bike? And I could just foresee them maybe making a checklist. Is it steering? Is it the handlebars? Is it steering? It's important. Is it the most important thing? No. Is it pedaling? Okay, so pedaling, they look at it. Is it the most important thing? No. Well, what is the most important thing? The most important thing about riding a bike is balancing on the bike, not falling side to side. Once you have the balance, riding a bike is pretty easy. And the training wheels were actually doing the exact opposite of that. They were not training you in the most important thing. Training you in steering, training you in pedaling, but not in balance. And so the Strider bike took off the pedals and the kid balances with their feet at first until they can lift their feet up, and then they roll, and then they have balance, and then all you do is put them on a regular bike and they can ride because the most important thing is taken care of. And I want to apply this to sports. I want to apply this to athletics because we're using training wheels for how we're training our athletes. We're majoring in the minors. We're focusing on skills. We're focusing on strength. Once again, kind of like pedaling and kind of like steering, definitely necessary components, but are they the most important thing? Are they the most important thing? When we're on the court, does every kid get a basketball on the court? I'm just thinking about basketball. I always go to that. Does every kid get a ball the whole game and we're dribbling the whole game? No. Does every kid get to shoot the ball every time down the floor? Everybody's got a ball and everyone shoots it every single time. But yet every kid practices that skill almost always for basketball. That's all they do. They practice shooting, they practice dribbling, they practice passing. They're practicing these skills, and then they learn plays, and then they practice these plays. And, they'll probably work on some defense. That's great. But then the other component of their training, especially as they get to the high school level, is they work on their strength. So now we're working on our muscles. We're getting stronger. And what's happening in an actual basketball game, and this isn't just for basketball, this goes to soccer, tennis, volleyball, this goes to every sport, is what happens in the game is 95% of the time we're running up and down the court. We're reacting. We're having to balance. We're having to land on one leg. We're having to jump. We're having to do athletic movements. That is the number one thing. That is the biggest component that is happening in the game. It's running, it's jumping, it's moving, it's reacting. It's the skills that no one is actually focusing on. And so therefore, whenever you come to a game, And usually the best player on the court or on the field is the best, say it with me now, athlete. It's usually the best athlete. It's the one that can jump the highest. It's the one that can run the quickest. That's who we're giving the ball to if they're running back. That's who we're throwing the ball to if they're a wide receiver. The best athlete on the court or field or track is typically going to be the one that stands out. We want to call them the best basketball player, but they're probably also the best football player. They're probably also the best soccer player. And what I need you to focus on and think through is, have you ever worked on these skills? Because a lot of times the best athlete has the best abilities. They've got the best God-given talent, or they've been invited or cultivated in an environment that has led to them having great athleticism. They haven't necessarily cultivated that further, and I know that's the truth because I was that kid. I jumped almost 25 feet in high school in the long jump. I almost won state by 2 feet, and that was in Illinois. I never touched a weight. I played basketball, and I got a lot of steals, and I shot a ton of layups. So I was doing a lot of dunking, a lot of layups. So I was practicing my jump all basketball season off my left leg. So when I got to the track, naturally I jumped far. So it really was like I was doing plyometric training all basketball season, and then come track season, I'm jumping further than everybody else. And I still never necessarily knew that was the reason, and I wasn't cultivating that skill, because even great athletes don't realize they can become much, much better athletes once they actually focus on the skill of jumping and the skill of moving and the skill of running. I mean, just think to yourself, have you ever learned how to run? I know you've ran, and I know you've run sprints at practice. I know your coach has put you out there and said, we're running these. And if you're a coach or if you're a parent, if you've ever had your kid run, do you think they're going to get better at running by doing more of it? They won't. If they don't know how to run, they're not. They're just going to be doing the same bad mechanics more, and which leads actually to more injuries and more frustrations. They have to know how to run, and there is technique to this. There is technique to jumping. There is technique to reacting and getting quicker and staying balanced. And these are the skills. These are the skills that no one else is practicing. This is where the gap is. This is where the gap for every athlete I see, this is the gap, because they're in the weight room. They're in the weight room getting stronger. Cool. Let's call that pedaling. They're on the court or field or track, and they're working on their skills. So they're dribbling, and they're hitting, and they're passing, and they're scrimmaging. So I'm going to call that steering. Where is the balance? Where is the athleticism? Where are we actually becoming athletic? Because it's not happening in this place. It's happening in the steering world more than it is anywhere else. You're going to get more athletic depending on your sport by moving and running and jumping. But you're still not specifically working on those skills. You're not working on technique. You're just jumping based off how you know how to jump, which could be completely wrong. And you're just running based off how you know how to run, which once again could be completely wrong. So when are we working on these skills? When are we working on the skill of running? And that's my question to you. Have you ever thought about that? And the crazy thing is, it's like training wheels. We use training wheels. Training wheels were invented in 1950. We've used these for the last 60, 70 years. And come to find out, it was completely wrong. It was the wrong way to learn. It was the completely wrong way to learn how to ride a bike. It negated the exact thing that we should have been practicing on a bike. And as I'm saying this, I want you to realize we're doing the same thing in our sports. The most important piece of sports, the running, the jumping, the thing that happens 95 to 99% of the game, we're not working on it. And that's the revelation I want to give to you today. And that's the thing I want you to be thinking about today. Because just like a Strider bike, in 5, 10, 15 years, because this message is not going to slow down. I'm just going to get louder and louder with this. you're going to realize and look back on this and say, how did we miss this? How did we not focus on what we actually do, the most important number one thing? So I hope that makes sense. Please leave me a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts. If this video made sense to you, please click that like button for me, and also subscribe, because I'm going to be giving more and more of this type of information out and getting more into specifics of, okay, now we understand that athleticism and these skills are important. How do we get better at them? And that's what I've been doing over the last 5-10 years, is working on these skills and getting better and better at how to teach them and the cues that go along with them. So until next time, this is Tony with Vertigo Athletics, and we'll see you soon.